What does it take to sink your boat for you to decide to follow Jesus? Or what part of your resume, what job description qualifies you as a disciple? What? My name is Annette Aguiar. The river has been my church for a really long time, and I'm not a pastor, nor do I work in ministry. I'm an educator. I used to always work with kids and families, and today I coach healthy living and holistic business. I have a health and wellness business, and I was asked to share with you Luke 5, 1 through 11, and I invite you to read that for yourself. It is the section where Jesus calls Peter to become his disciple, and so it's a literal description of this. I found it interesting that the other three Gospels, so this is Luke and Matthew, Mark, and John, are mentioning it, but they do not have more description with it. So that I wanted to share. What's interesting is he's not just saying, follow me, but there's a story to it, and it's described in Luke. So I'm just going to tell you how I experienced it as I was preparing for this. I was asked to share this with you today. So I think it's kind of really cool. Okay, so if we're thinking about what would it take for me to become a disciple, right? That's kind of a question we don't ask ourselves a whole lot. I mean, I don't know, maybe you, but most people probably don't think much about it. And what is this question that I started with about sinking the boat? So let me tell you. So Peter, also named Simon, so I'm sorry if I go back and forth. His original name, I guess, was Simon, and Jesus at some point told him that his name would be now Peter, which somehow means, in the Latin form, means rock. So he would be the rock that the church is built on. So that kind of takes a lot of stuff away from that's happening later. Anyway, so sometimes I mix up the names. Anyway, Simon was a fisherman with his brother. They were fishing for fish, and that night, they fished at night. That night they had caught nothing. They were on the shore cleaning their nets, doing the professional stuff, being professional fishermen. They were cleaning their nets and preparing for the next night so they could start over again. At that moment in the morning, Jesus came and people were following him, and he was starting to, to hear him. So they were crowding in on him, and he thought, oh, if I go out on the boat and kind of sit a little bit away, it would, make it easier for me to speak. People wouldn't keep coming closer, that would create a nice boundary and stuff. So it doesn't say that, but that's kind of what the situation is. So he talks to them, he teaches them, gives them the word of God, and while the fishermen are cleaning their nets and finishing up the night. When he's finished, so he asked Simon, Peter, for the boat, and he got the boat. And so when he's finished, he's returning the boat basically, and he tells Simon to put the boat back out in the deep water and to fish again, that he would catch a great amount of fish. And he turns around and says to Jesus, he says, Master, we have been fishing all night. There are no fish. But since you said so, we will do it. So he and his brother go back out in the boat, and they put the nets down, and they catch such an amazing amount of fish that as they're starting to pull it into the boat, the nets are going to break, and the boat is overloaded. So they're calling their other friends, their also fishermen friends, to come over and to take some of that load and to collect all these fish. And they do, and basically both boats are at the maximum fill level. Okay, so that's what the picture was, what would sink your boat, right? Think about a sinking boat that is so full of miraculous, blessing of what you really needed or wanted. Here it is. So these boats are about to go down, and now they're bringing them into the shore, and Simon, Peter, is so struck by this, he falls at Jesus's knees, it says, and he says, Master, go away from me. I'm a sinner, kind of along the line of like, I don't qualify for this. This is, this is too much. And Jesus says for him, hang on, let me read this to you. He says, go away from me, Lord. I am a sinful man. For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. So then Jesus said to Simon, to Peter, don't be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people. Don't be afraid. Have you heard this before in the Bible? Don't be afraid. Fear not is a regular sentence in the Bible. So that's all he says. He says, don't be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people. And then the finishing sentence for this chapter is, for this paragraph is, so they pulled up their boats on shore, left everything, and followed him. So here's the question. You know, what would sink your boat? What kind of job description do you bring with you? Do you feel like you couldn't be called? You know, do you feel like you have nothing to give? Do you think these fishermen had something to give? You know, do you think that the Son of God, the Son of Man, God on earth would call them? They did not expect that. For surely they did not expect that. So what about us? What about miracles? What about crazy things happen in our life that either, you know, we could not have made come about? Things that we couldn't have done in our own power, like making fish appear where there aren't any, for example, you know? And what about when we really can't deny something like that happening? So this made me think about, do I have any stories of stuff that I couldn't have made happen? You know, and of course, as a parent, I'm a parent as well. There are lots of situations where stuff ends up working out somehow, where you just think like, this is unbelievable that this worked out. So the thing that came to my mind, where I literally had a moment in my life where I thought, this is a miracle. We had so I think 3 of our 4 kids were going out to school in the morning, and I believe it was 5, 6, 7 degrees outside. It was super, super cold. The bus stop is about 100 yards down the street. They all left without a jacket. And, you know, it's not like I have never told them. It is not like they don't know. It is not like they don't understand. It is not like I don't care. It's not like we don't have coats for them. They left without a coat. And I had done what a responsible, loving parent can do. So I'm literally at the door thinking, what do I do? Do I run after them? Do I carry the jackets out to them? I was at a loss. I could not do anything else. And I decided to do no movement whatsoever. I remember some kind of prayer escaping my lips at that time, saying like, God, I don't know what to do. They could literally end up with frostbite, something like that. And within a minute, within 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 80 seconds, the first one showed up, grabbed the coat, no words. Second one showed up, grabbed the coat. They did not even walk together back to the house. They followed each other with some distance, and all 3 of them came and got their coat. I didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. They got their coat. The thing that needed to happen happened. We never talked about it afterwards. There were other situations where I've heard them say that they knew what we as parents tell them. So it was kind of the stuff that makes us as parents tick sometimes, right? That makes us... Anyways, that was one of the moments where I was at a loss. And it's not a horrible moment, you know, but I was concerned. I was concerned for their health. And so, I don't know. Am I a disciple? Are you guys disciples? Do you call? Do you follow a call? Do you speak about what you know, what you see, the miracles you've seen? What about healing? People that have made it through some hard things, maybe accidental injuries or diseases, coming back from something really bad. What do you do with those stories? Do they make you feel like you had your boat sink and now you're called to do something with this story? I think the part that I started with the job description, the disciples, all of them were, you know, very, very different. They weren't the highly educated, they weren't doctors, you know, they were some of everything, but very, very ordinary as well, like fishermen. So does it give us calm and peace about maybe it's our position too, to share, to talk freely, to inspire, to challenge? So I think I'll leave you with that. Think about this. Maybe comment under this video some of what might have come to your mind, and share this with us. That would be cool. I'm sure a lot of you parents also have some stories. And every one of us were kids. Maybe you did that to your parents. Maybe something worked miraculously in your life. Thoughts? Please share.